welcome to POMCLOSET. Today I'm going to create a very simple sweater by using the addi king size machine. The addi king size here I have done many items and it's very simple to use. You can actually rotating this backwards and forward. You can do the round knit or you can do the straight panels from this machine. The design is going to be a very simple sweater. We will need the front panel, back panel and the straight piece. And then we will do the sleeves, then connect them together. The numbers of the needles are 46 stitches or 46 pegs. So starting from the black one here. So you can see that there's a number indicated on top of the machine. And I need to clean my machine. This will be the roll counter. So you have the rotator. Mine's got broken like months ago because I was using this machine with the thick yarn and then it couldn't rotate and this part here actually came out. So I fixed it with the wire and the hot glue, but it's still working fine. So what else do we need? I will be using the 100% cotton yarn from Hobby. This is the Cotton King 4-ply, 100% cotton, color 01. It's an Ecotech standard. I will mix the yarn in black and white color. For the black one I have it from Hobby as well. It's Mayflower, 100% cotton, number 1443. So I want to make the black and white sweater. We will need the crochet hook. This is the 4mm crochet hook for one strand of yarn of this 4-ply cotton. And then I will also use one size up crochet hook to cast off the work. We will also need the pair of cutter, the yarn needle, some stitch markers and the tape measure. To begin with, I will start from using the white yarn, and we need to cast on by rotating the rotator of the machine. I will position the first peg where you have the yarn slot here, and then I will leave the yarn around 6-7 centimeters and then do the zigzag one like this, front back. I have done this in many videos. So basically just the same how you cast on, it's very easy. So we're starting from the back or the front piece panel by doing the straight panel. So do zigzag front back like this. So here's my 44 needles, cast on 44 stitches, and then you need to put the yarn in the yarn slot like this. Close the yarn slot and clear the row. So this is the row 0, and now we need to start doing the row 1. So by doing the row 1, you will have to rotate this backwards to the opposite side. Go slowly so the needles catch all the yarn. As my row 1 is completed, now I need to do row 2 by rotating it the opposite side. So basically just doing the backwards, forward, back and forth. And make sure you help the needles to catch the yarns as well. The first few rows you will have to go slow. For this kind of yarn is thin yarn, so it's not too difficult to rotate. Some of the yarn which bigger than 4-ply cotton, that would be difficult. Or if it's too thin, it's going to be very difficult as well. You may have to do the swatches before. My swatches are 2 stitches is 1 inch and 3.4 rows is 1 inch. So here row 2 is completed. Now for this design I want to swap between the black and white, so I will do 2 rows of each color. So I will put the white yarn in the side of the machine, and then I will use the black color to black color, you will need to put these in the yarn slot like this. Close the yarn slot. Always leave the yarn long enough so you don't lose it, don't lose the end, and then just keep rotating this backwards. And for the security, I want to tie this, the black yarn and the white together, and then you will need to rotating this back to the other side. And rotating it back, because I want to use each color for 2 rows. Make sure you help the stitches here to catch the yarn. At the end of the row, I will open the yarn slot, put the black one inside, and then bring the white one outside here, put it back in the yarn slot, and then knit for 2 rows. 2 rows of each color, so keep swapping. So you can see the number of the rows here. At the end of the row, I want to change to the black, so keep swapping between the black and the white like this. You can do the plain color, but I want to try the black and the white one for this tutorial. And rotating it back. At the end of the row, always swapping, so I want to change the colors in every 2 rows. So keep knitting these, swapping between the 2 colors if you're doing the black and white like mine, and knit for 72 rows. Alright, I'm done with 72 rows of the straight knitting by swapping between these 2 colors, and I will now cast off. So I have ended up with the black color for my row 72. So what I would do, I need to take off the yarn from the yarn slot, and then I think I'm gonna use the biggest size. So you can see here the 2 different sizes. This is for 1 strand of yarn for normal crochet, and this one here is for 2 strands of yarn for crochet as well. But I'm gonna use these to cast off. Transfer the yarn from the addi to the crochet hook, and then you need to chain 1. I recommend to put the stitch markers on. I prefer to use the hair clip. The next stitch, transfer the yarn to the crochet hook, pull the yarn through, chain 1. So make sure this part is not too tight. The next stitch, transfer, pull the yarn through, chain 1. So just keep repeating. Transfer to the crochet hook, you will have 2 loops, pull the yarn through, chain 1. Transfer with the 2 loops on the crochet hook, and put the yarn through, chain 1. So keep doing this until you get to the last stitch. And here's the last stitch. On the last stitch, it's kind of loose, so you can see here's a big loop. So what I would do, I would go in between the 2 stitches and go in the middle, and then just have 3 loops like this on the crochet hook, pull the yarn through, chain 1 to close this row. Get this machine away. Now let's see, let's check what the piece looks like. So I will cut the yarn off, as well as this side here, the white one, so you can cut all the yarns off, and then we'll see. So the piece should look like this. You should have the straight panels like this. And the length on this part here, you should have around 22 inches because it's 2 stitches, it's 1 inch. And we have cast on 44 stitches, so you should end up having 22 inches on this part here. Now we would need to work on where we have started the row. So here is where we casting on. I will need to use the 1 strand of yarn here, the smaller one. I used the bigger one to cast off because I don't want this part to be too tight, and I will use the 4mm crochet hook, which for 1 strand of yarn, because you can see this part here is quite loose, so we need to make this part here a bit neater so it looks better. Now what I'll do, I need to fan the yarn here on the bottom of the works here, and then you need to pull this end here so long enough and cut this off, and make sure you don't lose anything on this part, and then reconnecting the yarn because I want to make this part to look nicer. So reconnecting the yarn, and then we will work on this part here. By working on this part, I will insert a crochet hook, pull the yarn through, also chain 1. I will put the stitch markers on so I know where the first stitch is, and then we will need to work on the next stitches. The next stitches is where you have the yarn here, so make sure you don't lose it. Insert a crochet hook and then pull this end through, pull the yarn through, chain 1. Make sure it's not too tight. The next stitches, pull the yarn through on this next stitch, and then pull this end away, but you still have it on your left hand side, so make sure you don't lose it. Pull the yarn through, chain 1. The next stitch, the next stitch here, let the ends go, pull the yarn through, chain 1. Next stitches, pull the yarn through so you have the secure loops here, and then you let these ends go, pull the yarn through, chain 1. So keep repeating this until you get to the end of the row, till you get to the last stitch. So you will have something like this, so it looks a lot better. Here's the rows we have cast on and it's a bit loose. So I will repeat these until I get to the last stitch. Now I'm done with the last stitch. So this end here where we cast on, so it looks a lot better. And the measurement here, if you done it too tight, it would shrink a little bit. So the measurement here, I have around 21 inches. But if you use the bigger crochet hook, you should end up having 22 inches. But as I have used a smaller hook and it doesn't stretch that much, but it's slightly like 21 inches, so 1 inch smaller, but that is okay because I want to do the ribbing on this end, so I need to continue using the 4mm crochet hook here. And by doing the ribbing, we will continue from the end part. I'm gonna use the white for my ribbing, and I will change at the end of the row here. You need to chain 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then you need to lock this last stitch, chain 2, and do the double crochet on the third chain from the hook, half double crochet. The next stitches you need to also do the half double crochets to the last stitch. For the ribbing, I'm going to use only half double crochets. So you should end up having like 11 half double crochet, including the 2 chains. So I have 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, and then you need to position the work like this. And then I will skip one chain, go to the next one, then do the slip stitch. After that you need to slip the next stitch and turn the work, and then on the 3rd chain from the hook do half double crochet back loop only. So you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Then you need to chain 2, turn the work, and do the half double crochet back loop only on the 3rd chain from the hook, and you should have 11 half double crochet, including the 2 chains at the beginning. 10, 11. I should have 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, and then you will need to skip 1 stitch, skip 1 chain, go to the next one, do the slip stitch, and then slips another stitch, turn the work, go to the 3rd chain from the hook, and then half double crochet. So keep repeating this until you get to the last stitch. That would be at the end of the works here. And at the end of the row here, you can just cut off the yarn. Leave the ends for 5-6 centimeters for sewing. Now you have complete one flat panel. You can use these as a front or as a back. After you complete this, you will have to do exactly one more piece of these. Alright guys, I have done 2 pieces of the knitting here. So you can see they are exactly the same pattern, the same cast on, cast off, and the ribbing. We will need to leave these pieces for now because we need to do the sleeves first. By knitting the sleeves, we will need to cast on exactly the same as the body part. I will clear the row first and then cast on for 35 stitches. So we will have to do exactly the same as when we cast on for the body part. It's exact front back. It's my 35 stitches here, and then I will need to open the yarn slot, put the yarns back in here. This would be the first row. So just keep rotating it back. Once you complete row 1, you need to do another row because I want to use one color for 2 rows. So make sure the stitches catch the yarn. Yes, row 2 and a row 2, and then we will need to change to the black color. Close the yarn slot, and then I will tie this in here. Don't want to lose this part. I knit these for 68 rows in total. done with row 68 in black color. Now I need to put the stitch markers on because we need to reduce the sleeves. So I put the stitch markers on the side, both sides, left and right. Now I need to chain also the yarn back to white. Put the yarn back into the yarn slot, and we also need to reduce the row. For the sleeve or the armhole, we need to reduce 2 stitches, which is 1 on each side for every 2 rows. So I will firstly transfer the yarn from the last stitch to the one next to it to reduce the stitch on this one. So just in case, you can actually put the note down like sleeve. I have reduced the first row, and then you need to knit normal. Before reaching the other side, you will have to transfer the yarn from the last stitch to the one inside, the one next to it. So now we have reduced 1 stitch of each side to complete. This is row 69, and for row 70, for 69 I have reduced. For row 70 I'm not gonna reduce anything, so I will knit straight by using the same color. Here is row 70 without any reducing, and for the next row, that would be row 71. I will need to firstly change the color to the black and then transfer the last stitch to the one next to it. It might be a bit tricky. And then knit. And before you reach the last stitch, you will have to transfer the yarn to the needle next to it and knit to complete this row. For the next row, knit straight without any decreasing or increasing, like this, and keep swapping between these reducing, non-reducing row until you get for the total of 35 rows. Transfer, put the yarn into this slot, and knit. The last stitch, transfer, and knit to complete this row. And the next row, no reducing, no increasing. To the new color, I would transfer first, change to the black, Here is my end of row 35 for the sleeve part where we have reducing, and now we need to cast off. I have ended up with 3 stitches left, so I will then cast off, get the yarn out of the yarn slot, transfer, pull the yarn through the next stitch, transfer to the crochet hook, pull the yarn through chain 1, the last stitch, transfer, pull the yarn through chain 1. So you should have something like this, and then I will cut off the yarn for sewing as well as the white one here. Now let's check. So this row here is end of row 103 because we have the sleeves part without addi reducing for 68 rows plus 35 rows of the reducing part. This is for size small. For the Addi Express machine, you can unfortunately do the size small for this kind of design. So I need to lay this piece down first. So you can see this part here where we're casting on, it doesn't look that nice. So I will repeat the same process as the body part by finding the yarn where you can actually pull this through. And then cut this off, make sure this end doesn't get loosed. Reconnecting the yarn, I want to have the white ribbing. If you want to have the black ones, also fine. Connecting the yarn, make sure you put the stitch markers on so you know where you have started. And the next stitch, just pull the yarn through without change. The body part I did the slip stitch and then chain one. For the sleeve there is no extra change. So it's quite tricky on this part, so make sure you try to pull the end here away, and then you will have 2 loops on the crochet hook. Pull the yarn through the last stitch here, and then I'll pull this yarn that we don't need out, pull the yarn through, and then I will start doing the ribbing. And the length of this part here I should have, the sleeves part, so it would be around, I would say it's around 10 inches. And then I will chain 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then 2 more chains, half double crochet on the 3rd chain from the hook. So basically exactly the same as the body parts that I have shown you, and keep doing this until you get to the last stitch. Alright, so I have done with the ribbing. So here is the sleeves part, and the knitting part is stretch. So the width of these sleeves is around 17.5 inches. The length of the sleeve without the ribbing should be around 29-30 inches, and with the ribbing 2.5 inches I would say. So you will have something like this, so it's not too short, not too long. Now we will need to complete another sleeve, so exactly the same as this one. So now I have done 2 sleeves, they are exactly the same pattern. So now we will need to bring also the body part that we've done. So I will have the sleeves, 2 of them, as well as the body part, so they are with the ribbings. And you can decide whether you want to have the knit facing outside, but I found the pose side quite lovely, so I think I will show the pose on the outside of the top. So by having the pole, I presume the pole will be my right side, so I need to put the pole to the pole like this, so you have the knit facing you. And then I will put the stitch markers on the shoulder part. I will measure around 3 inches in, as well as the other side. You need to measure also this part here, like 3 inches. My 3 inches would be here, and then I would use the black yarn to connect this part here. So I have the yarn here, I might as well just use it, so you don't need to get rid of too much of the yarn. to connect these parts together, I will basically just go for, you can do the slip stitch or you can go for single crochet. So I pull the yarn through first. I need to find the stitches. I will just go for like back loops, 2 back loops, and then slip stitch, back loop, pull the yarn through like this. So I need to find, here's my back loop. Quite difficult to see because it's a black color. And put the yarn through like this, back loop, 2 back loop, pull the yarn through. So keep doing this until you get to where the stitch marker is, and then repeat the other side by reconnecting the yarn, and then just do exactly the same. So after you connecting the shoulder part here, you will have the gap for the neckline. On the side here you will need also lots of stitch markers. I will firstly measure the armhole part. So you will need to have the armhole for around 9 inches to front and 9 inches for the back. So here is my 9 inches, and the rest you will need to balance the pieces. So the work stretch. To connect the side, I will use the yarn to connect the pieces. Use the white one to connect where the ribbing, end of the ribbing here, pull the yarn through. I will chain 1 first, and then you need to work along the stitches. And for the stitches here, I think on the side I will go like back loop to back loop and then do the single crochets like this, single crochet, next stitch, single crochet like this. So keep repeating this until you get to the body part here, and I will also do the single crochets. Keep checking the works. So I have the stitch here is quite loose, so I will go to the one inside just to make sure that the piece is connected together. And for this part here I will also go for like single crochet, like back piece, front piece. So here it's up to you. If you want to do the single crochet or do the slip stitch, you can also do that too. So I will continue doing this until I get to the armhole part, and then repeat the other side. Yes, I have connected the side of the top here, and I need to now turn the works. I want the pole to show, so the pole of this top will be my right side, so you will see the shape of the top. Now I need to connect the sleeves. The sleeves, I also want the pole to show. I will turn the pole side to the pole side and use the stitch markers. And here is where we have put the stitch markers on, where we have reducing the armhole. And then you need to stretch this part and put lots of stitch markers on, and then do exactly the same as when you have connected the body part by using the single crochet. I will start from here and then just go along on this part here. And I will use the white yarn to connect the pieces by reconnecting the yarn on this part here, and do these exactly the same as the body part. So I'm done with the connecting the side of the sleeves. I will need to now turn the piece to the right side. because I want the pole to be the right side. Is my right side the pole side? Now we need to bring also the body part. By connecting the body part and the sleeves together, you will need the right side to the right side. That means my pole side to my pole side. So here's my pole. I will need to actually turn this back. The body part to the pole side inside, and then insert the sleeve inside like this, because I want the pole to connect to the pole. And put the stitch markers on. Here will be my armhole. And the top part of the sleeve would be here to stretch. Need to connect, put the stitch markers on where the top of the sleeve and the shoulder part. The rest you will have to keep balancing the works using the stitch markers to help to lock the place. So more stitch markers if you need it, and then you will need to connect the side. By connecting the side, I will use exactly the same stitches, so that means I will use the single crochet to connect. So just work towards the stitch markers, put the two pieces together, then single crochet all the way around. There's no specific stitches, but I will work along the length of the works. Cut off the yarn for weave in and repeat the other side of the sleeve. Alright guys, I have connected the pieces together and turn this onto the right side that I want the pole to show. So I have the sleeves, the ribbing, the other sleeves, and the neckline. I want to leave it like this, but if you want to do the ribbing on the neckline part, you can also do it. But for me, I think this one here is completed. I really hope you like the tutorial, guys. If there is anything you don't understand, or if there is any comments, please write it down on the comment section down below. This is quite a simple piece, so it's in time for the upcoming autumn and winter seasons. For me, I want to have this piece in black and white, so it's kind of fun having the pole side turning onto the right side. You can also use the knit side to be facing the outside, but I want this piece to be a little bit more interesting. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel, guys. I still have many more designs to come. And I will see you in the next video.